to the stage head football coach Tim Harden.
Thanks, buddy. Awesome. All right, so here's the scenario. It is the fourth quarter. There are about 2 minutes left, and you guys are dog tired. I can see it. We're fatigued. You're worn out. You're there. We get it. But you know what? We're going to push through. We're going to finish strong, and we're going to finish well. Excited to be here with you guys this evening. Man, what a first-class event. Yeah, absolutely. Give it up for these guys. Absolutely first class. You can see the attention to detail, the purpose that's there, the things that Jay has done, the things that Jordan has done. And let's do this. You can talk about the hardest working guys in show business. Let's give it up for the tech crew back over here that's been grinding all day. As with any organization, sometimes it's the people who are not in the limelight that are actually the most important, and that's true with those guys. Appreciate all the work that they're doing. Again, there's some exciting for me to be here. Again, Lindsay has done so many things with USANA, and I've really not been able to come to really any or many of them. It was fun for me to see her speak yesterday and be a part of that and see those things. And really, USANA fits so well with our family, and there's some parallels, I think, between USANA and coaching football, sort of that entrepreneurial spirit of going out and making something happen on your own. If you don't do it, it's not going to be there. And make that go and create something. I think USANA investing and relying on the quality of great products might be better than my livelihood is based on 16-year-old boys doing what they're supposed to do. Luckily, we've tricked them into doing it most of the time. But again, excited to be here with you guys and look forward to what we have going on. I want to share a story with you guys to start off about this gentleman, Pat Carruthers. Pat was a U.S. Marshal, served for 30 years. Pat is a devoted family man, father of 5. Pat's oldest 2 graduates of the Naval Academy. His second son, seen here in the middle, played football for me and is currently at the Naval Academy as a linebacker at Navy. When he signed with Navy, I said this: it is good for the United States of America that Paul Carruthers is going to Navy, because he's a bad hombre, man. It's good that he's out there on the front lines, and he's got 2 younger ones. Pat's a guy of deep Christian faith, a guy who loves his wife dearly. On November the 18th, this fall, Pat, who's the regional coordinator for the U.S. Marshals in the state of Georgia, there was a mission that his office had to carry out. And the mission was to apprehend a criminal who had shot multiple law enforcement agents, had traveled through multiple states, and was basically, as Pat said in his own words, was a bad dude. So Pat, at this stage of his life, does not go on those missions, but Pat said, I'm going to go on the mission. And as they charged the house and they apprehended the criminal, Pat was shot and killed that day, dying in the line of duty. A week later, the memorial service for Pat was held at our school. We've got a really nice facility for that. And as I sat on the stage, somewhat similar to this, on the stage was Pat's pastor, Loretta Lynch, the Attorney General of the United States, the Assistant Attorney General, 2 U.S. Senators, 2 congressmen, and the football coach. And I was there because they asked me to give a prayer because I was close to Pat and close to the family. There were 1,500 law enforcement in the room in this large ceremony. As the ceremony ended, it went outside and they took the flag-draped casket and took it out, put it on a horse-drawn caisson. And it was, you can picture this. Steven Spielberg couldn't have crafted this. It's November the 25th. It's 45 degrees. The sun is heading down. It's about 5 o'clock, and there's silence. And all you hear is the bagpipe processional of Amazing Grace, and you hear the clip-clop of the horses as they take him across campus to another location. At that location, they do a number of different things. They fold flags. They hand them to the 5 children and to the wife. They do with the marshals, they do a procedure where it's called last call. And they come on and they say, Pat Carruthers, badge number 4527, please report. And they do it 4 or 5 times to finally there's the last call, and he signs off for the last time. And they take the casket away. As that happened, 5 military helicopters came over the top, and 4 continued to go, and 1 peeled off, signifying that one of the men was down, and down for good. At the service, as family members spoke, as U.S. Marshals spoke, one thing came through really strong, is this guy had a life that was well lived. This guy had a life that was so consistent. Everybody said the same thing. I knew Pat, I knew him as a father, I knew him a little bit as a friend, and it was amazing to me that everyone said the exact same thing in their own way. The guy who'd worked with him when they became marshals back in their 20s, the guy who was his boss up until last year, his wife, his son, all those things. One of the most poignant moments is when his 23-year-old son, who literally was on a sub in the Atlantic Ocean when he found out that his father had been killed, stepped up there and he said this. He said, you need to know that the Carruthers family will continue to defend this country, will continue to love each other, and will continue to trust God. That sounds like a nice plaque in my house, but to be a person in the military, and your dad was just killed in the line of duty, and say that is pretty powerful. And I came away, and everyone who was there that day came away blown away, motivated, inspired to be a better person, to be a better father, to be a better husband, to be a better citizen of the United States of America, to care about the people that are around us. And what proved so true was who Pat was and his character. And that was the depth of what went on that day. And so that's why I want to take just a few minutes and close today as we talk, and about this idea of the greatest investment you can put in. Clearly, you have invested time, effort, energy, and money to be here. Some of you just reinvested for the next year, which is awesome. Why? Because your business is important to you. It matters to you. Your associates matter to you. Your future matters to you. All those things matter. That's fantastic. That's exciting. Exciting to be a part of professional growth. However, the greatest investment that we can all make is into our personal character and how that affects us and everyone that touches us. And it's one of those investments that's not like a big commitment right here. It's the daily investment. You know, every so often, it'll go on and on the local news, wherever it is you are, there'll be a story about the widow who lived on the edge of town. And she died, and she left $5 million to her church or to the local college or whatever. How's that possible? She lived in a ranch house that was probably worth $40,000. How's that possible? She saved a penny a day, $1 a week, $10 a month, whatever. And over the course of time, her daily investment to pour into that and do that just continued to grow. And as we come here and we invest in ourselves and we pour into ourselves and we grow, it's important. But I think the thing that we really need to remember is don't let the development of your career outpace the development of your character. You cannot do it. Do not let the development of your career, the development of your business, development of your team, which you pour heart and soul into, outpace the development of your character, because it won't work. You cannot build a flourishing life with floundering character. Eventually, it will implode and it will fall apart. And we all know this. There's countless stories of that, of people that had a shaky foundation and went to build and went to grow and went to prosper, and it just, at some point, it caught up with them. And so often we want to invest in the things on the side, but not the things that are there. Our family was up in the mountains, for those that are from the real mountains, the hills, okay, of South Carolina at a lake house, but it was steep, so we'll call it a mountain, all right? And we were up there right after Christmas. And we were driving around looking at some of these new homes that are being built, and oh, wow, look at this one, look at that one. And there was one they were really working hard on. You could hear them just drilling these concrete pillars into the ground. And the guys were like, I said, wow, look at this. I said to our sons, that's amazing. They're like, what, Dad? There's nothing there to see. I said, do you realize how much work they're putting in to put this house on the side of this mountain so eventually it will hold? Because if they don't do that, it's going to slide down, the rain's going to come, it's not going to last. And so to recognize that and see that. So we're going to spend a few minutes and just chat about that. The first thing is this: the journey of character is exactly that. It's a journey. And it's not a flat journey. It's an uphill journey. And it's a journey that, like anything in life, well, it's a sports adage, you're either getting better or you're getting worse. There's no neutral. When you stand still, you start to roll back. You're either moving forward or you're moving backwards. And recognizing that and seeing that. We use this to illustrate that a little bit this year with our team. And again, I have the joy, privilege, challenge of working with 15 to 18-year-old boys. Man, it is a good time. It is a lot of fun, but we better make things really simple if they're going to halfway remember them, okay? Something happens to your brain when you go from 12 to 15, you get really, really stupid as a boy. We have a 15-year-old son who is the smartest, most conscientious, the most dependable young man, 11-year-old, I think, in the history of the world. And he is now borderline stupid. Left to right, up to down, time to whatever. It's just, supposedly research says about 25 it'll come back. You know, the testosterone will even out, all right? But we do. So we try to make things simple. And so for our team, we said this, guys, here's the deal. We want to talk about the daily actions that are going to help us be successful. I mean, it is easy to throw out, you know what, we want to win a state championship, or I want to do this, I want to do that. That's fine. Put that to the side. What am I going to do today? What am I going to do today? And so we sort of talked about this idea of being above or below the line in everything that we do. And it's just real simple. Above the line is intentional actions that lead to intentional results. So I made a choice. It's purposeful. It's meaningful. I want to do this, so I'm going to do that. And below the line is casual actions lead to casual results. If it's based off of how I feel and whether it's comfortable, if it's what's the weather like today and is it convenient, then I'll have casual results. And we all know this to be true in all areas of our lives. And this is specifically true in this area of character. If I am intentional in the way I grow and I develop, then I can see character growth that is deep and is real. But if I approach it casually and it's something that's on the side and when I feel like it, then that character decay comes in. I think part of it is stepping in with this mindset that you have to fight for your character. And I'm telling you right now, you have to have an aggressive mindset. If we step out into the world and say, you know what, I'm just going to take whatever comes my way, then you're sliding down that hill. No way. You cannot watch a movie. You can't. You cannot watch a movie unless it's cartoons and rated G. Even the PG cartoon ones aren't, okay? You can't watch a movie that isn't just filled with endorsing sexual promiscuity. The most popular shows on Netflix are based off of what? Off of lying, deceit, and the manipulation of other people. You can't listen to popular music that you would want to stand up here and recite the lyrics of. Would you like me to read you a poem from the radio? Probably not. Probably not. We challenged our young men in the program. We said, you know what? Think about what goes into your mind. Think about what comes in. Would you read that to your mom and your grandma at the Thanksgiving dinner table? You might want to think about that. And that's not style specific. Would you want someone saying those things about your sister or your girlfriend or your mom? I don't think you would. But here's the deal. You know what happens is we fall in this lie. And so we say this. We say, you know what? That won't affect me. Okay, that's great. I can do this. I can do that. Here's the deal. What goes in is what comes out. What goes in is what comes out. So if we just walk through the world and we just say, hey, I'm going to watch anything that's on Netflix, I'm going to go see any movie, whether it's got an award, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and it's not going to affect me, that's a lie. That's a lie. That's not true. You can say that's the case, but that's not how it works. How it works is we're all affected by the things that go on, and we have to fight for our character. Now, I'm not trying to sit up here and say, hey, all we're watching is this, all we're watching is that. We all have the freedom of choice. But if we don't think critically about the things that we're going through, about the things that are coming into us, about the things that we're dealing with, then we don't realize what's going on. I think sometimes the wisdom of the world, all of a sudden because, hey, you know what? ABC thought it'd be a good idea for you to watch this. I'm just going to take that. I tell you right now, you guys flew here from wherever to be active and aggressive and figure out what the next step is on your business. Why not treat your character the same way? Why not say, you know what, I'm just not going to take what some TV executive in Hollywood stirs up and throws on the boob tube and shoots at me. No way. I'm going to say, you know, I'm going to be decisive in the things I'm going to recognize and go from there because you know what? It affects me, and I know that it does. And again, modern wisdom is always trumps over classic wisdom, but there's no more classic than this, and it's really basic and it's really simple. But brothers and sisters, fix your thoughts on what is true, honorable, right, pure, and admirable. Think about the things that are excellent. As you've sat here in these 2 days, when someone gets up here and shares a deep, meaningful story about how someone has overcome difficulty and overcome obstacles and overcome challenges, man, you just feel good. You feel inspired. You feel lifted up. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. And you know what happens? Sometimes, 10-year-olds and 11-year-olds understand that, but 45 and 50-year-olds forget it and think that it doesn't affect me. Shame on us. Shame on us to think that those things are the case. It's sort of like this. It's like this principle that my actions and not my intentions determine my destination. That's a principle, and the principle is true. So we can't argue that. Sort of like the principle of gravity. So we go up here to the top floor of the Omni and say, you know what? Screw gravity. Screw it. You know what? I can fly. And if you ever guys in here saw the Key and Peele, where it was a mock of Russell Westbrook, and he could fly. If you haven't, search it tonight. It's pretty funny, all right? But here's the deal, is that, you know what? This gravity thing, forget it. It doesn't apply to me. And you step off that balcony, guess what? It applies to you, sucker. It applies to you. Same kind of thing here. The idea that my actions, this isn't an opinion. This is fact. My actions, not my intentions, determine my destination. So in other words, tomorrow you pull out of here, okay, I'm looking to get to the airport, I'm excited to get home, I'm heading that way, I pull out, I turn right, and I'm driving. And I'm driving fast, and I'm a little bit late because I didn't pack on time, or you're married to Lindsay, and just cruising along and whatever, does not have the spiritual gift of punctuality. We're still praying that it might be a late onset. We'll see, we're not sure, okay, all right? We're working through that, it's all right, okay? And we're cruising along, we're like, I thought the airport was 30 minutes away. And we've been driving for 45. You know why? Because you went west on I-4. You're almost to Tampa. Well, I really want to be at the airport. Like, I desire to be at the airport. My intentions are to be at the airport. I know, but it doesn't matter your intentions. It matters where you're going. You got on the wrong road. You got on the wrong path. I want great character. I want someday that people stand at my funeral, and there may not be 1,500 law enforcement there, but it's going to be my children, and it's going to be the people that I worked with and the people on my team that I poured into, is I want them to say the same thing consistently about me. But you know what? I'm driving to Tampa instead of the airport. Well, your intentions don't matter. Our intentions don't matter. Our actions are the things that matter and connect with us. And that's a principle that's real and it's true. And so for us to just sort of sit back and say, I'm going to take a casual approach to my personal character. I'm taking a casual approach to the way I live my life is going to result in casual directions. And you may end up at Tampa and miss the airplane as we go back. I want to hit on three markers that we're just going to touch on today of personal character. And again, you can talk a million different directions, but we're going to touch on these. The first one is integrity. And here's how I'm going to define integrity. And it's simply this: having the courage to do what you said you were going to do, even when it's difficult. Having the courage to do what you said you were going to do, even when it's difficult. And so much of integrity and following through isn't about knowing what we should do. It's about having the courage to follow through and do that. One of my favorite quotes from the author C.S. Lewis is this: courage is not simply one of the virtues, but the form of every virtue at the testing point. To be honest takes courage. To be disciplined takes courage. At the testing point, it does. To be patient takes courage, the testing point. So this idea of integrity and what that looks like, and I can follow through, that my yes is truly my yes. In two different aspects of it. The first is this: personal integrity. When I got to Wheaton College, I played football at Wheaton College. When I got there, the head coach was a gentleman named J.R. Bishop. J.R. is an incredible southern Indiana with a quiet drawl and even spirit. Looked a little bit like Montgomery Burns from the Simpsons, but was just a great guy and a great heart, and just loved the guy to death. And he said this real simply. He goes, everyone knows the difference between right and wrong. Do right. We are all created with a moral compass. And what we do as adults so often is we fill it with a justification over here and a different perspective over here and an attitude over here and a you wouldn't understand this over here, and we pollute it. And in the quietness of our hearts, we know, is this right or is this wrong? Choose right. Not very complicated, is it? Not always easy, but not very complicated. It's funny, different times we'll deal with different things with our team. I'll go back, okay, how should we handle this situation? Or here's this young man or whatever. And you know what's funny? So often as adults, we have all these different angles. We're thinking about dynamics, and you go to these young men. It's like, what, Coach, I don't think that's right. We should do this. And you're like, yeah, you're probably right. I was thinking it's another dynamic. But it doesn't really matter. This is right. This is wrong. Great point. We all understand that. So as we're developing and really monitoring our personal integrity, it's just that simply do what is right. Now as we step into the business realm, sometimes like, well, okay, but this is business. This is my business. Well, that's my personal. This is business. And I think for us to have business integrity, the first thing, it can't be any this is business mentality. Clearly, some decisions are made differently in a business decision, in a personal decision, and a volunteer organization decision. I get that. But when it's coming to right and wrong and choices of integrity, there's not a place for it. Two questions to ask ourselves. One, in this situation, what's the best way to treat people? In this situation that I'm dealing with, where I'm not exactly sure what to do, and how does integrity fall out, where I'm going to follow through or not follow through with what I said I was going to do, what's the best way to treat people? And that's a great marker of who we are and how we do things. And second, maybe this, because a lot of times when we have integrity issues, we have them in the shadows. We have integrity issues that nobody knows about because it's hidden behind. If everyone on my team knew about this decision, how would I feel about it? How would they feel about it? As we go through and make these choices, I'm going to do this, but don't tell her so-and-so, okay, that's going to be a private message on Facebook because I don't want the whole team to see it, or whatever it may be. And it's clear there's some things that, hey, just my diamonds above need to talk about. These people, I'm not talking about procedure, folks. I'm talking about moral issues as we go through. And this quote right here hangs in the weight room in our school, and I see it every day, and I love it. And it's from the, be willing to choose the harder right over the easier wrong. From the West Point Cadet Creed. Be willing to choose the harder right over the easier wrong. And as we go and we search integrity in our character, that's an important thing. Second one I'll talk about is this, to touch on, is humility. This idea of humility. And here's how I want to touch on humility today. Here's how I want to touch on is this, is not so much, you hear, okay, humility is what? Thinking less of yourself. I think it's best to find thinking of yourself less. So not living on myself. Getting outside of myself, not worrying so much about myself, but of reaching outside of my world. Because here's the deal we all know. If all that motivates me is what I see in the mirror, that runs out after a while. But as I can get connected with people around me, as I can get connected with folks around me, that raises up and goes. And so to me, humility is, you know what? The world does not stop and start right here. I'm not the center, and it does not go around me the entire time. The world is revolving, and I'm just part of it. And how can I reach outside of myself and engage with other people? A couple real-life ways to connect with humility. First is this, to let the people in your life, whether it's your teammates, the people who are in your organization, whether it's your family, to just let them know in every way that I am for you. That's something that we talk about a whole lot with my coaching staff, and not by going up to a kid and go, hey, man, I'm for you. Okay? It's not that. It's just like, how can I today let this young man know that I'm for him? And you know what? Sometimes that's challenge him. Sometimes that's hold him accountable. Sometimes that's pat him on the back. Sometimes that's reaching out to one of your associates, say, you know, I'm for you. I'm excited about this. How can I reach into you and do that? To our family members, how can we say, I am for you? What can I do to help set you up for success? What can I do to help set you up to achieve something, to be your best? Second one here is valuing people over outcomes. Man, it is easy. It is easy to chase one more buck. It's easy to chase one more win. It's easy to chase one more thing, and all of a sudden you turn around and there's people that you ran over on the way. If you want to talk about personal character that lasts, that's rich, that's real, that's reflective of a man like Pat Carruthers, it's saying, you know what? People are more important than things. And you know what? By treating people exceptionally well, things come along as well. They're not opposites. They're not opposites. There's so many examples we can see that. And the last is being somebody that really looks to pass on the credit. All of us, every single person, is a product of all the people around us. And we live in what I call sort of the highlight culture. In the sports world, it's what? All people want. It doesn't matter if you play a terrible game. If you have one good play, you're on ESPN. You could have dribbled the ball off your foot, made 0 for 12, terrible defense, but you made that one dunk in the third quarter, and all of a sudden some leftover wing player from Wake Forest is on SportsCenter tonight. Doesn't make any sense. Same thing. Does that happen a little bit in social media? A little self-promotion? See, I don't do that. Lindsay does it for me. Okay? All right? That's good. I'm not on social media. But the point is this, as opposed to saying, what do you need to do to pass the credit on? All of us are a product of all the people around us. Next Sunday, we're going to turn the Super Bowl on. How many millions of people are going to watch it? What they're going to see is they're going to see the Atlanta Falcons rise up and knock down Tom Brady and the stinking Patriots. They're going to see. All right, so you've got Tom Brady, who's arguably the best quarterbacker in the handful of best players ever played. Okay? If he rolls out there and 8 other guys come with him, how good is he? No good. If he goes out there and 10 other guys come with him and they don't do their job, how good is he? If he goes out there and 10 other guys are average, not even great. The point is, all of us All of us are connected to people around us, and recognize that and find every way. You're here because you're leaders in your business. I assume you're leaders in your family, you're leaders in your community. How can I pass credit on to somebody else? And you know what part of that is? It's sometimes like, this went really well because I did it, but she was part of it. He was part of it. Don't worry about it. Just take the self-satisfaction. You did a good job. Do you need somebody to tell you that? You go out of your way to engage the people around you. This is a picture from a game a year ago. And one of the things that we say in our program is really trying to get young men, selfish young men who live on their phones, who the world revolves around me, to get outside of themselves. And to do this is to engage in the people around. So we were about halfway through our season, a third of the way through our season, and we played our first conference game. And we played a team, and we won by a few scores, and I went home after the game, and I was sour. And I said, that's not my team. We were selfish. We were into ourselves. We weren't excited for each other. Sort of had attitudes. I said, no way, man. No way. That's not the team that I coach. I don't want to be around that. We got to enact some change. And I started to think about it. I said, I want these guys to be a certain way. But if I'm not engaging with them and not laying out exactly how I want them to be, how's it going to happen? So what we did? I said, you guys are too worried about yourselves. We're going to practice being excited for other people. We're going to practice it. So we created scenarios where, hey, we had a big play. How are we going to act? Everybody's got to celebrate. This is going to happen. We intercept a pass. Let's celebrate. The last one we practiced, it was Thursday. We practiced a big kickoff return. Man, he run down. We had guys jumping up and down. I had a coach flipping water bottles all over the place. I mean, it was ridiculous. But we're going to get excited for each other. The very next night, we're playing. Ball's kicked to the 2-yard line. Trey Morrison takes it right down the home sideline, 98 yards to the house. We got 30 guys in the end zone. They should have thrown like 5 flags, okay? Because our guys are jumping up and down, going crazy, being ridiculous, that kind of stuff. But guess what? From that point forward, those guys got outside of themselves. My favorite part of that game is in the fourth quarter, we won by a number of scores, and I've got juniors and seniors who are recruited to play college football going crazy, yelling on the field for freshmen and sophomores, getting 1 yard in their first tackle of their career. Because you know what? Because they're getting outside of themselves, because they're saying, you know what? Because your success is my success. I don't need to be featured. Your success is my success. How can I pass that on? Pass that on and be a part of that. The last chunk I want to talk about here, the last characteristic is resilience. And first of all, there's a lie. And the lie is this. The lie is the most successful people had the easiest path. The most successful people, the people with the best marriages and the people with the best business and people that have everything going their way. You know why they have that? Because they had it easy. If I had it that easy, I'd be like that. If I had it that easy, we'd have that marriage. If I had it that easy, I'd have that USANA business. That's a lie. It's an absolute 100% lie. The people who are most successful are the people who have navigated the bumps better than everybody else. That's it. That's it. They've navigated it better. And you think, oh, no, he's had it that way. And that's not the case. Last year, we were hosting the sectional track meet. I did not coach track, but I went there to watch some of our guys run. And the sectional is right before the state. So the top 4 go on to the state. Now watch, we had some guys running the 300-meter hurdles. And they line up. We had 2 guys running. There was a guy from South Georgia running. And this guy was fast. Like our guys are fast, and he's like, fast, okay? And we come out, and it's the hurdles. So they take off. There's like 40 yards in between hurdles. And this guy's, boom, he's gone. I'm like, oh, boy, we ain't catching him, okay? So he's gone. He sprints. He gets to the first hurdle, almost comes to a complete stop, jumps over the hurdle. Then gears back up and goes again, slows down, go over. Our guys, even, good hurdle form, even, good hurdle form. It's sort of like the tortoise and the hare. Now, I'm not calling our guys turtles, okay? All right? They were qualifying for the state. Well, guess what? By the time they get to the end of the race, our guys won. This guy was exhausted from sprinting and stopping and sprinting and stopping. And he said, you know what? This guy needs to practice the hurdles. And I backed away and said, that's life right there. That's life. To sit here and say, you know what? These guys are a whole lot easier. You know what? They're just used to hurdling. They're used to dealing with the stuff that comes their way. They've practiced that. They've got the resilience that when challenges come, I know how to handle that. When challenges come my way, I can deal with that and go over and over. And it's been easy for say, oh, man, they've got it easier. They've got the same blocks you do. You just can't see them all the time. And for us to recognize that and see that and build in ourselves a resilience and a character that is real and that lasts, I think is really important. One thing we talked about a lot with our young men this year is this idea that resilience, and right here use the word resilience, and it could be replaced by perseverance, or mental toughness, or faithfulness, or maybe even confidence. It's yours. It's no one else's. Oh, I did this and I lost my motivation. Wait a second. Here's the deal. Motivation isn't yours. Over here, I lost 3 distributors. I lost them in the past 3 months. I'm really down. Okay. Well, this guy over here lost 4 and he's cruising. And you're over here and you're hanging your head. No circumstance can take your resilience from you. It can't. You can't do it. You have to give that away. And so for us to recognize that and see that, and so as we poured that sort of into the lives of our young men, but I poured that back into our coaches as we said, you know what? Our resilience and the way we press forward, that can't be taken away. That has to be given from us. So as we go through and we realize that the hurdles come and the challenges come and the issues come that we've got to navigate and go through. So as we sort of work through, we got to the point late in our season we were making a playoff run. And we played a game in South Georgia, just outside of Savannah. It's a third round of the playoffs, the state quarterfinals. They got a dude who's going to Georgia, is one of the national receivers, best players in the state. We got some guys, we're going back and forth. Well, it comes down, we've got the ball, time's running down, we're down by 3 points, under a minute left. We're driving, we get down there, and we got a chance. It's third down, chance to win the game. Quarterback scrams out, shoots a laser, probably a little too hard. Receiver's right there to win the game. Drops it. Drops the ball. Now, we kick the field goal, we go to overtime. He comes over right to me. Trent Fowler, number 7. Trent comes over and says, Trent, come here, buddy. Say, hey, man, you know what? And this is something we say all the time. Just a little verbal cue for us, roll on. We say roll on all the time. Something happens, roll on. Something bad happens, roll on, man. Go to the next thing, have a hard back. Be a turtle. Let just the water run off, man. Roll on. Something good happens, forget it. We'll worry about it later. Watch it on film the next day. Roll on. Let's go. Earlier this year, the officials made a terrible call. It's subjective now, okay? I'm telling you it was a bad call, all right? And I am kindly discussing with him the errors of his ways and explaining Rule 7-4 and really how it could be interpreted and whatnot, okay? A little different than that. That's how I remember it, okay? And one of my players next to me goes, hey, coach, roll on. And I'm like, shut up, man. No one applies to the players, all right? Forget that. He was right. And I was sort of like, yeah, all right, good. Well, make the next call right, ref, move on. Was this idea, I said, roll on. I said, hey, Trent, roll on. He goes, yes, sir, I'm ready to go. All right, so we're going to overtime. We're going to double overtime. We're going to triple overtime. Lindsay's going crazy. Her heart's coming out of her chest. She's running her place, all right? We're down there. Quarterback drops back, whatever, shoots the ball in the end zone. Catch, touchdown. Who caught it? Trent Fowler. Spartans win, storm the field, all a good time. But here's the deal, is you know what happened? Is that young man had built resilience, had built the ability to deal with stuff when it came. Because guess what? Someone on this side of the room dealt with some frustration and it brought them down. Someone on this side of the room had the same frustration and they bounced off of it and moved forward. And to me, it's this principle right here that everything worthwhile in life is uphill. Because it is. It is. Everything worthwhile in life is uphill. And to recognize that and to see that and to be a part of that is huge and realize that. I want to finish with 2 things real quick. We, in our neighborhood, there's a house that had the best lawn I've ever seen. Now, I'm serious now. Any lawn guys in the group? Anybody people just meticulous? In the South, we can grow Bermuda grass. I'm telling you guys, it looked just like Augusta National 18 green. It was, I just drive by and look at it. It was unbelievable. And this guy just poured into it and poured it in a real mower, double cut that thing twice a week. It was unbelievable. And when your wife goes, have you seen that lawn? All right, it's probably a pretty good lawn, okay? Well, they moved. A year later, without a doubt, the worst lawn in our neighborhood, that lawn. 1 year. The one guy, he tended to it. Man, it was his baby. Honestly, bizarre a little bit, okay? But just poured into this thing and got results. The next guy didn't do a thing, didn't put down any. There's weeds growing in it. It's unbelievable how fast that changed. And I was like, that's just like our character. We could work on it for years to get it somewhere, and it could change like that. We could work on it for years like that, and it'll change like that. We've got to continue to pour and develop in that. And so this process of growing and developing our character, I'm going to throw this up here real quick. You won't be able to copy it down as we're going, but a couple resources that are outstanding. This book, The Road to Character, is a really, really neat read that tells stories of individuals and the process to character, and they're not all pretty now. They're not all pretty, but it's really neat. This book, Lead for God's Sake, is sort of a sports parable against the sports world, but it's just about the heart of a leader. It is motivation and inspiring. There's an author named Tim Elmore. If you're a parent, If you think you might want to be a parent, if you have parents, okay, all right? It's some really, really good stuff that's applicable to growth and development that as I've read them, thinking about our own kids, I'm looking in the mirror as much as anything else. This book, Season of Life, is a neat sort of sports parable that goes on. And this last one, Burn Your Goals, this countercultural approach to achieving your greatness and whatnot. It's by these sports psychologists. It's a pretty interesting deal. So a couple things I know they'll have on the slide. Last, I want to finish this. And this is a picture of a diamond. It's beautiful. And you think about a diamond. And you think about what it takes for it to develop. That you've got a lump of coal, sort of nasty, and you've got an intense amount of pressure that comes on it. It doesn't just hatch into diamond, but this pressure that comes on it. And then as it comes and it's pressured, eventually it's there, but nobody knows. And it's got to be mined. It's got to be found. There's got to be moments where it shows true. And then it comes out. And that diamond is taken, probably here in the United States, and it's put and it's set. And it's put on a wedding ring. And some young man spends more for that diamond than he has for any car that he's ever bought, because he's 24 years old, and gives it to a young lady and says, this has value for the time to come, for today and for all of the years to come. And I see that diamond and say, that's our character. Because our character is what? It is forged in pressure. It is forged in intense situations. There are moments where it is mined and is pulled out and is revealed to be, hopefully to be true. Hopefully to not have too many imperfections in it. But if not, it continues to forge. And then it is a promise. It is a promise for now and for the future. The greatest investment that each of us can make is in our own personal character. And it'll change us, and it'll change all of those who come in contact with us. Thanks for your time. I appreciate it.